The galactic hub buzzed with activity, a sprawling maze of docking bays and trade stations filled with ships from every corner of the known universe. Massive Zorathian cruisers loomed like predators, their sleek, black hulls bristling with weapons. Flocks of nimble Krell traders darted between them, their ships adorned with glowing neon sigils. And then there was the Starfarer. It drifted into the hub like a relic from a bygone era, its hull patched with mismatched plates and its engine sputtering faintly. The humans had arrived, and the galaxy laughed. Whispers and jeers echoed through the docking bay as the crew disembarked. Captain Elias Grant led the way, his weathered face betraying no emotion as alien eyes scrutinized him. Behind him, Engineer Mira Patel adjusted her tool belt, her sharp gaze scanning the crowd. Scientist Dr. Linway followed, clutching a datapad filled with calculations. The trio moved with purpose, but the aliens saw only weakness. A Zorathian trader sneered, his voice dripping with disdain. "Look at them. They call that a ship? It's a miracle it made it this far." Laughter rippled through the crowd. The humans ignored the taunts. But the humiliation stung. The Starfarer was all they had, a ship built from scraps and salvaged tech, a testament to humanity's determination to survive. Earth was struggling, its resources depleted and its people desperate. The galactic community had offered little help, viewing humanity as a primitive species unworthy of their time. But the crew of the Starfarer refused to give up. They had a mission: to explore uncharted regions, find resources, and bring hope to a dying world. As they moved to the hub, the crew couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The Zorathians, in particular, seemed to take pleasure in their discomfort. A group of Zorathian soldiers blocked their path, their armor gleaming under the harsh lights. One of them, a towering figure with a scar across his face, stepped forward. "Humans," he spat, "you don't belong here. Go back to your little planet before you embarrass yourselves further." The crew said nothing, their silence only fueling the Zorathians' contempt. The confrontation escalated when the Zorathians targeted the Starfarer itself. As the crew returned to their ship, they found a critical piece of their navigation system smashed beyond repair. The Zorathians stood nearby, their laughter echoing through the bay. "Oops," one of them said mockingly. "Looks like you're not going anywhere." Captain Grant clenched his fists, but Mira placed a hand on his arm. "Not here," she whispered. "Not now." Back aboard the Starfarer, the mood was grim. The crew gathered in the dimly lit control room, the weight of their situation pressing down on them. "We can't let them win," Dr. Way said, breaking the silence. "We didn't come this far to give up." Mira nodded, already pulling up schematics on her datapad. "We'll fix it. We always do." Captain Grant looked at his crew, pride swelling in his chest. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and outmatched, but they had something the aliens didn't: resilience. As the crew worked tirelessly to repair their ship, they uncovered something unexpected. Hidden in a forgotten compartment, they found an ancient alien artifact. Its surface was covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift and change under the light. Dr. Way's eyes widened as she examined it. This is incredible. The technology here is unlike anything I've ever seen." Mira leaned in, her engineer's mind already racing with possibilities. "If we can figure out how it works, we might be able to use it to our advantage." The artifact became their focus, a glimmer of hope in the face of overwhelming odds. The crew worked through the night, combining their knowledge and skills to unlock its secrets. Slowly, they began to understand its power, a power that could change everything. But they knew they had to be careful. The artifact was a double-edged sword, and using it would come with risks. As dawn broke over the galactic hub, the Starfarer was ready. The crew stood together on the bridge, their determination unwavering. The Zorathians had underestimated them, but they would soon learn the cost of their arrogance. Captain Grant looked at his crew, a fierce pride in his eyes. "Let's show them what humanity is made of." The engines roared to life, and the Starfarer rose from the docking bay, its patched hull gleaming in the light of a new day. The galaxy had mocked the weakest human ship, but it would soon learn to fear it. The artifact hummed faintly as the crew gathered around it, its alien design casting an eerie glow across the control room. Dr. Way's fingers danced over the datapad, translating the strange symbols that flickered across its surface. "It's a power source," she said, her voice tinged with awe. "But not just any power source. This thing generates energy on a scale we've never seen before. If we can integrate it into the Starfarer systems, we could outperform any ship in the galaxy." Myra's eyes lit up as she leaned closer, her engineer's mind already racing through the possibilities. "It's not just energy. Look at these conduits. They're designed to channel power in ways that defy conventional physics. If we reroute the ship systems through this, we can enhance everything. Speed, shields, weapons. But it's risky. One wrong move, and we could blow ourselves to pieces." Captain Grant crossed his arms, his expression grim, but determined. "We don't have a choice. The Zorathians made sure of that. If we're going to survive out there, we need every advantage we can get. Mira, start integrating the artifact into the ship systems. Dr. Way, keep working on the translations. We need to know everything this thing can do." The crew worked tirelessly, their movements precise and deliberate. Myra's hands moved with practiced ease as she rewired the ship's core systems, her mind calculating every possible outcome. Dr. Way's datapad filled with notes, her understanding of the artifact growing with each passing hour. The artifact itself seemed to respond to their efforts, its glow intensifying as it connected to the Starfarer systems. The ship shuddered slightly, a low hum resonating through its hull as the artifact's power flowed through it. By the time they finished, the Starfarer was no longer the same ship. Its engines pulsed with newfound energy, their once faint sputter replaced by a steady, powerful thrum. The shields, once fragile and unreliable, now glowed with a faint, iridescent light. Even the weapon systems have been upgraded, their targeting arrays sharper and more precise. The crew stood on the bridge, their exhaustion overshadowed by a sense of triumph. They had done the impossible, but their celebration was short-lived. A proximity alarm blared, snapping them back to reality. Captain Grant's eyes narrowed as he studied the sensor readings. Zorathian patrol ship. They're heading straight for us. Myra's hands flew over controls, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. "Shields are holding. Weapons are online. We're ready." The Zorathian ship appeared on the view screen, its sleek, predatory design a stark contrast to the Starfarer's patchwork hull. A voice crackled over the comms, laced with arrogance. "Human vessel, power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will be met with lethal force." Captain Grant's lips curled into a faint smile. Let's see how they like a taste of their own medicine. The battle was swift and brutal. The Zorathian ship opened fire, its energy beams slamming into Starfarer's shields. But the shields held, their iridescent glow flaring brighter with each impact. Myra's hands danced over controls, rerouting power to the engines. "They're fast, but we're faster," she muttered. The ship surged forward, its movements impossibly agile for a vessel of its size. Dr. Way monitored the artifact's output, her voice calm but urgent. "Energy levels are stable. We can sustain this for a while, but we need to end this quickly." Captain Grant nodded, his eyes locked on the view screen. "Target their engines. Let's see how they like being stranded." The weapon systems locked on, their targeting arrays humming with precision. A single shot lanced out, striking the Zorathian ship's engines with pinpoint accuracy. The enemy ship lurched, its systems flickering as it lost power. The arrogant voice over the comms turned panicked. What is this? How are you?" The transmission cut off as the Starfarer moved in for the final blow. But Captain Grant held up a hand. "Hold fire. Let them go." Mira and Dr. Way exchanged surprised glances, but they obeyed. The Zorathian ship drifted helplessly, its crew no doubt scrambling to repair the damage. Captain Grant's voice was cold but firm. "This is your only warning. Tell your people what happened here. Tell them humanity is not to be underestimated." As the Zorathian ship limped away, the crew of the Starfarer allowed themselves a moment of quiet satisfaction. They had proven themselves not just to the Zorathians, but to the entire galaxy. But they knew this was only the beginning. The artifact had given them power, but it had also made them a target. The Zorathians would not take this defeat lightly, and neither would the other species who had once mocked them. Captain Grant turned to his crew, his expression serious but proud. "We've shown them what we're capable of, but this is just a first step. We need to keep moving, keep improving. The galaxy won't change its mind about us overnight, but we'll make them see. Humanity isn't weak. We're survivors, and we're just getting started." The crew nodded, their resolve unshaken. The Starfarer powered up its engines, the artifact's glow pulsing faintly through the ship systems. They had turned their weakness into strength, and now they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The galaxy had underestimated them once. It wouldn't make that mistake again. The Zorathian outpost loomed in the distance, a sprawling complex of dark metal and glowing energy conduits. It was a symbol of their dominance, a hub for their operations in this sector. But to the crew of the Starfarer, it was a target. Captain Grant studied the outpost through the view screen, his expression unreadable. "This is it," he said quietly. "We hit them hard, fast, and clean. No mistakes." Myra's hands moved over the controls, her focus absolute. "Shields are at full strength. Weapons are primed. We're ready." Dr. Wei monitored the artifact's energy output, her voice calm but urgent. "The artifact is stable, but we're pushing it to its limits. We need to make this quick." Captain Grant nodded. "Then let's not waste any time." The Starfarer descended on the outpost like a shadow, its movements precise and deliberate. The Zorathians had no warning, no time to prepare. The first shot from the Starfarer's weapons tore through the outpost defenses, their shields collapsing under the sheer force of the attack. Alarms blared across the outpost, their panicked voices echoing over the comms. "We're under attack. All units, respond. Respond." The crew moved with practiced efficiency, their actions a well-oiled machine. Mira targeted the outpost communication rays, cutting off their ability to call for reinforcements. Dr. Wei monitored the artifact's energy flow, ensuring it remained stable under the strain of battle. Captain Grant directed the assault, his voice steady and commanding. "Focus on their power core. Take it out, and the rest will fall." The outpost defenses were formidable, but they were no match for the Starfarer's enhanced systems. The ship's weapons tore through the Zorathian defenses with brutal efficiency, their energy beams slicing through metal and circuitry alike. The outpost power core was their final target, a massive structure glowing with unstable energy. One well-placed shot was all it took. The core exploded in a blinding flash of light, the shockwave rippling through the outpost and reducing it to a smoldering ruin. As the dust settled, the crew allowed themselves a moment to breathe. They had done it. The Zorathian outpost was destroyed, its operations in this sector crippled. But the victory came with a cost. The artifact's energy levels were dangerously low, its glow flickering faintly. Dr. Wei frowned as she studied the readings. "We pushed it too hard. It's going to take time to recharge." Captain Grant nodded, his expression grim. "We'll make it work. For now, we need to focus on the next step. The Zorathians won't take this lying down. They'll come for us, and we need to be ready." The crew's victory did not go unnoticed. News of the outpost destruction spread like wildfire across the galaxy, carried by traders and travelers who had witnessed the battle. The once mocked human ship had become a symbol of defiance, its name whispered in awe and fear. The Zorathians, furious and humiliated, declared war on humanity, vowed to crush them once and for all. But the other species watched with growing interest, their perceptions of humanity beginning to shift. For the crew of the Starfarer, the battle was far from over. They knew the Zorathians would retaliate, and they needed to be ready. The artifact, though strained, was their greatest asset, and they would need every ounce of its power to survive what was coming. Captain Grant gathered his crew on the bridge, his voice firm but filled with pride. "We've shown them what we're capable of, but this is just the beginning. The Zorathians will come for us, and we'll be ready. We'll show them that humanity isn't just strong, we're unstoppable." The crew nodded, their resolve unshaken. They had turned their weakness into strength, their mockery into fear. The galaxy had underestimated them once, but it would not make that mistake again. The Starfarer powered up its engines, the artifact's faint glow pulsing through its systems. They were ready for whatever came next. The galaxy's worst nightmare had only just begun. The Zorathian fleet emerged from hyperspace, a swarm of sleek, menacing ships that blotted out the stars. Their formation was precise, their weapons primed, and their intent clear: to annihilate humanity and erase the insult of the Starfarer's victories. At the heart of the fleet was a Zorathian flagship, a colossal vessel bristling with enough firepower to level planets. Its commander, a ruthless strategist named Vrax, sneered as he studied the lone human ship on his view screen. "This ends today," he growled. "Destroy them." Captain Grant stood on the bridge of the Starfarer, his eyes fixed on the approaching fleet. The odds were impossible, the situation dire, but his voice was calm and steady. "This is it. We hold the line here, or Earth falls. Mira, get us in position. Dr. Way, keep that artifact stable. We're going to need everything it's got." The battle began with a deafening roar as the Zorathian fleet opened fire. Energy beams streaked through the void, slamming into Starfarer's shields with terrifying force. The ship shuddered under the impact, its systems straining to keep up. Myra's hands flew over controls, her voice tight with focus. "Shields at 70%. They're hitting us hard, but we're holding." Dr. Way monitored the artifact, her face pale but determined. "Energy levels are fluctuating. We can't sustain this for long." Captain Grant's mind raced as he assessed the situation. The Zorathians had numbers and firepower, but the Starfarer had something they didn't: ingenuity. "Mira, reroute power from non-essential systems to the shields and weapons." "Dr. Way, see if you can stabilize the artifact's output. We need to buy time." The crew worked with desperate efficiency, their movements a blur of precision and determination. The artifact's glow flickered and pulsed, its energy flowing through the ship's systems in erratic bursts. Despite the strain, the Starfarer held its ground, its weapons firing with deadly accuracy. One by one, Zorathian ships fell, their hulls torn apart by the human ship's relentless assault. But the Zorathians were relentless. Their flagship moved into position, its massive weapons charging with a low, ominous hum. Vrax's voice crackled over the comms, filled with venomous triumph. "You fought well, humans, but this is the end. Say goodbye to your pathetic species." Captain Grant's jaw tightened as he studied the flagship. "That's our target. Take it down and the rest will fall." Myra's hands moved with lightning speed, her voice sharp with urgency. "We're in position. Weapons locked. Firing now." The shot lanced out, a brilliant beam of energy that streaked across the void and struck the flagship's shields. For a moment, it seemed to hold. Then, with a blinding flash, the shields collapsed. The flagship's hull buckled under the force of the attack, its systems failing in a cascade of sparks and explosions. Vrax's voice turned to a panic scream as his ship was torn apart, the flagship reduced to a burning wreck. The Zorathian fleet faltered, their formation breaking as their command ship was destroyed. The Starfarer pressed the advantage, its weapons firing with unrelenting precision. The remaining Zorathian ships turned and fled, their once proud fleet reduced to a scattered, broken remnant. The crew of the Starfarer allowed themselves a moment of quiet triumph, their exhaustion overshadowed by the magnitude of their victory. But Captain Grant's voice cut through the silence, firm and resolute. "This isn't over. The Zorathians will regroup and others will come. We need to be ready." Dr. Way nodded, her expression thoughtful. "The artifact is stable for now, but it's reaching its limits. We need to find a way to enhance its capabilities, or find another solution." Mira leaned back in her chair, her face pale but determined. "We'll figure out. We always do." As the Starfarer turned toward Earth, the crew knew their journey was far from over. They had proven humanity's strength, but the galaxy was vast and filled with dangers. The artifact had given them power, but it had also made them a target. They would need to be smarter, stronger, and more resourceful than ever before. Captain Grant looked at his crew, his pride evident in his eyes. "We've shown the galaxy what humanity is capable of, but this is just the beginning. We'll keep fighting, keep pushing, until humanity is no longer the underdog. Until we're not just survivors, we're leaders." The crew nodded, their resolve unshaken. The Starfarer powered up its engines, the artifact's faint glow pulsing through its systems. They had turned their weakness into strength, their mockery into fear. The galaxy had underestimated them once, but it would not make that mistake again. Humanity's worst nightmare had become the galaxy's, and they were just getting started.